let's talk a little bit about the inner creative genius. Now, is this something that we all have? And if so, how do we activate it?
Good question. Well, this started off with a study by NASA. NASA wanted to find the creative geniuses within their rocket scientists and engineers. And they brought in some scientists who devised a study. And indeed, they identified the geniuses in the workforce. It was a very simple study. So the scientists decided to roll it out to the public. And they started with small children. Wow, they found that small children, 97% of them were creative geniuses. Well, look at children, they just free flow, they just let their minds flow. But as the years went on, they study 8-year-olds, 14-year-olds, the figures dropped and dropped. And by the time they got to adults, I'm trying to remember, I think it's about 4% when we're adults, creative geniuses. So it's kind of fades as we get older. But the good news is they found they could see. Go on, so
No. Let me ask a question, because you said it fades as we get older. But my concern is, are we educating it out of them, or are we dumbing it down? In other words, what are we doing that's taking that away? Because that's a huge problem.
Yes, it is a huge problem. The good news is you can get it back. What they found, there's been a number of studies, and I consulted a number of experts. That's why it took me so long to write the book, because I just kept talking to these amazing people. You need to feel safe in order to allow your genius ideas. And so to say you're going to a meeting with a bunch of people, how many of them would you feel comfortable actually coming up with a totally wacky, off the wall idea? At some point, we've had people go, stupid. Oh, what are you thinking of? I remember the first time I said I was going to write a book, I had a family member roll their eyes and go, how can you write a book? We've all had that in our lives. And when that happens, we pull back. Certain companies have created space, I think Google's one of them, that come up with the wackiest, maddest ideas possible. Just let them out and everyone will listen and go, okay, and flow with it, because in amongst all the ideas, some of the wackiest ideas are the genius ideas. Little kids don't worry what other people think. They don't care. They don't care. They'll draw you with a rocket coming out your left ear. They don't care. So it's getting back to that safe space. And it's also learning to play. Go out and just giggle and have fun and draw crazy pictures and come up with mad ideas for a movie. It's about feeling safe, getting into that play mode. And when you take people into play mode, fun. One of the best people for learning about creative genius is a chap called Chris Barres-Brown. And when he did his TED Talk, he got everybody, now TED Talk, they're standing up, they give their very sensible talk. He said to everybody, you've got a piece of paper under your chair. I want you to make a paper aeroplane. And he showed them how to make, and the whole room, there was just this packed audience. There's all these paper aeroplanes flying around the room. And they'd all sat there very sensibly waiting for their little talk. And all of a sudden they're all giggling and playing. And that's what we need to do, is get out there and have some fun and feel safe. So you often find the creative geniuses don't worry what other people think. But I think when we kind of let it flow, and I think part of that is coming back to your tribe, you know, Alan, because when you're around the right people, you feel comfortable with your ideas. So when you're putting on your show, you've got a bunch of people there, and you probably feel very comfortable going, look, this isn't what we normally do, but let's give this a go. And they'll go, yeah, let's do it, you know, and you'll feel safe to do that. Whereas if you're in some stern environment, they're going to go, what? We start to shut down. So it's feeling safe and letting it flow. But I do actually have a recording where I get people to go into the future and find their most genius idea. I put it in as an exercise in the book. Go into the future. Do you know, Alan, just think, if everyone's got something genius in them, which I'm sure they have, and most people die with their music inside them, don't they? Most people don't write the book or paint the picture. Supposing we just do it and let that out. So I take people into the future to find that genius idea. How did you make it happen? What does it look like? It's such fun. I've done it with artists. I've done it with musicians. I've done it with inventors. Go forward, find that genius idea and let it flow. Oh, it's just so cool when people just light up.
You know, first of all, I couldn't agree more, and I love it. And it reminded me of something that I was blessed to be involved in, where the instructor of a class of a lot of creatives. So everybody in this class was a creative of some kind. And when it came time to the end of the class, or the last class, everybody was going to come up, and it was sort of like their thesis, or their final project that they were going to tell everybody. But what we didn't tell them was the instructor had me introduce each person as they would come up, only I introduced them as if it was the Academy Awards or the Grammys or the Oscars or the Golden Globes or whatever. So whatever their situation was, or whatever their art was, I introduced them as you would when they would win that award. And so I would say their name, and the winner of, and go into this whole thing. And we set it up to where the lights shifted at that time before they came up. And when they then did their final, the final chapter of their class, or the final project, I saw there was so much more energy. They were on such a higher level. So the instructor of the class just did a great job of setting it up and chose me to actually do the introduction. But it was a wonderful thing. And I thought if they could do that in the classrooms, every public school, when you ask Johnny or Billy or Kathy or whomever to come up and to read that speech or to read that report, and introduce them as something that they see themselves doing in the future, you go from that fear point. Because I can remember as a child going up and having to speak, and which made it even worse was the fact that I stuttered. So when the teacher said to come up and you're going to do this speech, I was so scared that it just got worse. But yet, had it been introduced as whatever it was that I was thinking at 8 years old that I thought I was going to be, and I was introduced as that person in my future, I think it would have changed everything.